So just thought I'd do a quick video on NPC regulators and stuff. It's probably quicker for me to show it than it is to type it out. It's something that someone's mentioned in Discord. So on this particular, or in my game, let's just do that way for a minute. I've got currently I've only got two factions, so orcs and humans, and I've got maximum of 4 players or 4 NPCs. In the game manager, for each faction slot, where I've got role NPC, the name of it. I've got hard AI and my hard NPC type. I'll come into that in a second. The initial faction entities obviously defined on the map. So depending, the way I've done it is that if I had 4 players go and play this online, or all NPCs all selected and going through from the single player manager, then, or 3 NPCs and the player, it can either be a human or an orc at that position. So inside each element, although I've defined for testing, because they test on that one, define that, I've got my own hard AI, and I have type specific under initial faction entities. So if it's a human, then it'll start off with the human town hall. If it's an orc, it'll start off with an orc throne. I'm going to tick these all on, just for purposes of running this in a second. So that's only those 2, right? So that's that. So let's go into, I'm going to go into the NPC types. With faction, everything's just set to destroy all. So let's go NPC types, just to show. So we've got our faction types, obviously we've got our human, and we've got our code definers defining how many of those can actually be built and stuff. That's in under faction types. NPC, so our NPC types, I have my easy and my hard, not from the demo. So in my easy one, I have a human and I have an orc, and I have an easy human NPC manager, and I have an easy orc NPC manager. Okay, and in hard I have the same thing, it's just hard. So you don't define the all types, because that basically, it doesn't matter if you don't define them separate for each faction type. In my case, human and orc, and you just define that one, then all of them will use that same manager. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So in our basic NPC managers under human, I have a couple of ones I've messed around with. I have an easy and I have a hard, and those ones are actually what's the easy one has been used there, and the hard one has been used there. Okay. In the, I'm just going to pick the hard one. So in the hard NPC manager, units, I've defined under like population resource type specific for human only, because this manager is for just humans. And then you define the buildings for those that particular faction. So in other words, this case it's human, and make sure that you only use in my case, my builders are peasants. When they become level 2, they actually become workers, because until they can actually get some skills, they're actually pathetic and useless. So anyway, and that's the same throughout the whole of the human NPC manager. Now obviously I created the hard one, and then I duplicated it, renamed it to easy. These are just from before, where I actually had some issues, which I sorted those out. So sticking with that hard one, and there's nothing on the entity components. The upgrades is just standard. I'm clicking through this quick, you can pause the video. The attack, so picking and launching, that's pretty much standard. It's mainly the resource building and unit you need to look at. But where I've defined certain things, you do need to make sure, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I always have done, you make sure that you set that it's the human population. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. And the default NPC regulator for this, I leave this out because I have NPC regulator on each item on the buildings, so I'll come into those in a second. So while we're here, I'll just jump into the Orc. So the Orc one, unit extension, as you can see, population Orc, faction types for Orc only, and in the unit behaviour, so the Orcs don't have that many units they can build at the moment, but it's an Orc archer. So back on the map, if that's an Orc starting off on this first one, let's pick one who's got a hard one. Oh, wrong one, sorry, my bad, bear with this. So hard AI, let's lose that on because we're actually talking about Orcs. That will actually run that one, and we'll use on my hard AI NPC Manager. It will look at this one and go, yep, we're using an Orc, so we use the hard Orc NPC Manager. I hope that makes sense. So whilst we're on this section, let's go to, because we're talking about Orcs, let's look at the prefabs for, say, the Orc throne. Okay, on faction entity, faction is locked. I've ticked that so it can't actually be captured, I suppose. It depends on the use case. I've had that tick before, but I haven't. There's something I'm going to be playing around with that, but we'll leave that one alone for now. But I have faction is locked. You can tick this as a main entity because it's the throne. On the NPC building regulator data input for the building, I don't define a specific type because I have these are all defined. So on this specific type, if we are, so we have a regulator data for Orc throne easy NPC regulator data, and we have one for hard. So the faction types is all in list. Sorry, you can't really see that. It's 2022.3.5 version, and the option is in that option it's an Orc only, faction type is Orc, and all in the list, so it'll only load the easy AI from the my easy NPC type. Okay, if I click on that, it will show you there. All right, and then I have another element, and that's the hard version. So for the throne, we'll go back to the folder for the throne. In the throne, I have an easy and a hard. So on the hard, it just defines the place around the building, and that's it. Faction entity requirements, there is none on this one particularly. I haven't messed around with that. I have done so more on the human side. So if I go town hall, so we've got the town hall, as you can see, it's there's none in all types, and define each element, and same for the hard. So I've got an easy and a hard, and if you had an easy, medium and a hard, you would have 3 elements in there. And if we go into the throne folder for the hard regulator data input, as you can see, force place around, there's nothing on that one. If I went to, oh sorry, run Orcs, my bad, gotta love it when you just do these off the fly. Town hall, there we go. So to create a town hall for humans, we need we can have peasants level 1 and level 2, and we need a minimum of 4 to build a town hall, and they can be placed around. So that's what I have on those ones. Easy is the same, it's just the default on those. Other buildings is exactly the same. Entities, so let's pick let's just go with the peasant. So the peasant, again, I have is faction locked, and in the NPC regulator data input, let's just close that up so make it a bit easier. I have a human, peasant, easy, regulated data input as a default type. I had some issues I was dealing with, I left that in. And so it will default to being used as an easy if it can't find these for some reason. So again, in the faction type, I have easy, all in list, human, and easy AI. And if it's the hard, regulated data input, if it's being used for human and hard AI. And that is technically it. Now, our proof is in the pudding, as they say. So if I click play, hopefully it all works. Meh. So this is me, so I'm going to ignore me. We're going to go over there. That's the town hall. There's that one. Oh, come here, you.
Yeah?
And that's easy AI, and they're all off doing that. So they're going off collecting first. That's easy AI for humans. They're pretty dumb. Hard AI for orcs is in this one. They're pretty nutty, as you can see. They get on with stuff. And down here is the easy NPC for orcs, I think. Oh, that might be set to high actually, I'm not sure. I'll go back to humans and getting the farms up and starting to build everything else. So they are only building their own stuff. They are only building their own stuff, and same with those. And that's basically it. So they are respecting what they've been taught to do. I hope that makes sense. Hopefully that's helpful to someone.